Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark from the United States.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Mark from the States. How we doing today? I am doing fantastic. I hope you are as well. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. Today, we are going to, apparently a month ago, was International Beatles Week, I guess. I have to make a confession. How do I say this? I am not the biggest Beatles fan. And let me preference this. There's subtext here. I love all the Beatles songs, but I've never owned an album. Never bought any Beatles music. I don't actively listen to Beatles music, but when one comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, I like it. I dig the song. These guys are pretty good. They should have a pretty good career. Yeah, they're going places. You know what I mean? It's not something that I was really into. But no, they're good. I like the music. I just never got into like owning albums, records, CDs, whatever, tapes, whatever, 8 tracks for some of you. My brother did, of course, so I heard the music all the time, and I enjoy the music. They were wonderful. They really were. I just never, they weren't my go-to. But again, the music was great. Anyway, so there's a Beatles Week, International Beatles Week. That's awesome. This is a Bimble by Kieran. Thank you. By Kieran. Bimblism is the channel. Links below, as always. So please go over there, support him, subscribe. Kieran does his own music as well, and all the music that you hear in the video is his music. I bought his album. I love his music. It's funny. I bought Kieran's album, but I never bought a Beatles album, which is the subject of today's video. So please, I encourage all of you to get over there and support him and buy his record. If you like the music, you can just go to his page and there's a link to just purchase the music. It's not a lot, but it certainly helps him. And I love the music that he makes. I really do. I listen to his music quite a bit. I have it on my computer. When I'm just doing other things, I'll put it on. And then I of course, get to hear it when we watch one of his videos. But I want to thank him for allowing us to see things and learn about things that that are completely new to you. Maybe some of you will have been to these places before, but maybe something will pop up that you don't know or didn't know about. Before we begin, I just want to send my thoughts. Always thinking about the people of North Carolina, Western North Carolina, Western Tennessee. In that area, they are still pulling bodies out of the mountains. These places are really hard to get to. They have just been decimated. Those people have lost everything. And it's heartbreaking to see all these lives destroyed. And it's hard to get to. They're using special forces. People who are retired. Not people brought in by the government, by the way. The government has been dragging their feet. And that's a whole nother story that I don't want to get into because I am not in a good frame of mind to have a rational conversation about our government right now, my government. But there are special forces, retired special forces people who are hiking back in there, and some have parachuted in, some are like airborne, ex-airborne guys have parachuted in. People with mule trains are using mule trains because they're the only way to get supplies into these remote. I mean, they were hard to get to when there were roads, but now we're talking those roads have been washed away, and so they're using mule trains to get in there, bringing supplies to these people who are just desperate. and we're well over 200 people have lost their lives, and it's stacking up to be the most deadliest hurricane of all time. Uh, Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans is still at the top, but what makes this so unique is that it's so far inland, and it's causing all this devastation and loss of life. So that's what gives it that really kind of a, there's nowhere for the water to go once it comes in, doesn't go back out to sea. It's just sitting in there, and the rivers are overflowing. I mean, it's awful, and I'm just heartbroken by it and angered by it. And but what the silver lining is you see and I know all our countries do this, but I'm so proud of my fellow citizens who have come together, and we do this all the time with natural disasters, and so many people have jumped to help, and just the donating of money, food, time, helicopters, vehicles, gasoline, baby products like diapers and baby formula, and just propane, grills to cook, generators for these people to get power, communications, Starlinks that have been donated by Elon Musk, which the government is fighting him for whatever reason, so these people can communicate. They have no way of getting money because there's no ATMs, and there's no they've lost their wallets, so they have no ID and no cards to go to an ATM, and it's just miserable. But it really makes me proud to see so many Americans in the area, and people who are able to as soon as the next day they were already there. The government took 5 days to even get people down that way, and at that point there was already thousands of other private entities there. So when the government showed up, private entities were already there, and then of course it's like, you're going to be in our way, and there's that, you're going to have to leave because now we're here and we got have it's just yeah. Sorry. Okay, but that's not what this video is about. Just basically, I'm saying if you pray, please pray for them. If you don't pray, just send good thoughts in your mind to try to, who knows, maybe that can help as well. Kieran and his Bimbles. If you are new to the channel, thank you for joining our wonderful community here. This is our channel. This is yours and mine. Without you, there wouldn't be a channel. Without the original content creators, there wouldn't be a channel. So I am so blessed to have you all. If you're new, we like to just take a look at some just new and different things and learn about stuff that, I've been told that our channel doesn't really follow the kind of the path that most other reaction channels do. We do a lot of different types of videos and learn. That's the main goal of this channel. It's not to be wealthy, it's to learn. So we invite you to stick around if you are new. If you're new to Bimblism channel, it's Kieran rides his bike around, shows you all these little interesting but not commonly known things. And today we're going to learn about the Beatles. So please come sit on this big fake couch. It's fake, it's imaginary, but it's going to hold all of you. So I would invite you to come sit with me. We're just going to watch this together and see what Kieran has to show us today. All right, let's do it. Before I continue, I want to thank all of you who participated in the interview that I did with Daniel, Arias the Nation and the Nation. Go to his channel. The interview he had with me was awesome. It was so much fun. There was a lot of you that were in the chat because he has it set up to where you could chat while watching at the same time, which I thought was cool, and I didn't even know you could do that. But all of those who've then since watched it since, thank you so much. I don't want to forget that. Upton Green.
Good morning, Bimblers. Did you know that it's International Beatles Week, ending this Wednesday, which is when our Bimble's coming out? And did you know that the Beatles were from Liverpool?
I did.
What, you did?
Yes.
They never mention it, do they? I thought it would be remiss of me if I didn't do a Beatles Bimble, to celebrate International Beatles Week. So I thought that our first location should be 25 Upton Green, the childhood home of George Harrison, at least from him being 7 upwards. This is where he would have perfected his quiff, and listened to records, and learnt his first chords on the guitar.
58 to 62.
Apparently, they used to have rehearsals of the Quarrymen in there. Speaking of the Quarrymen, let's Bimble.
I don't know who the Quarrymen is. I don't know if I know them. This is his music, by the way. So good.
To me, you were the sun itself. To me, you were a warming hand that melts to the bone. The flowers grown from my heart. To you, I was a drifting line, drawn between a light to capture, but only shown in pictures sewn from my arms. Over time, clouds kept the light from those eyes. Still, love grown consumed.
Whoa.
And you know, I'll never let it go. You'll find in time, I'll never let it go. You'll find it's right. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. To me, it was a long mistake. To me, it was a golden handshake to reapply those lazy arms in my heart.
Wow. It's far away.
To you, it was a dream it mended.
One thing I've noticed in his videos, and he goes to all these towns around this area, when he gets on his bike, is what we're seeing here, sped up, of course. I love the fact that all of a sudden you got stairs, and you just imagine him having to carry his bike up the stairs and then make it through those gates and stuff. But the vast amount of these paths, it seems everywhere in all his videos, there's always, yes, a lot of street. He's on the street riding his bike. I see, and it gets pretty crazy with the cars, But you also see him get on these paths where people are jogging, walking their dog, also riding bikes. And there's just so much of it. Like, we have traveled a far distance just in the last minute. And a lot of it is on these, paths. It's just remarkable. I'm trying to think if I've been somewhere that has, I know here in Ventura we have paths like this, but they're down on the beach along the coast. So, but like just through the city, no. And I'm trying to think if there are others like that. And there might be one actually on the outskirts of town that takes you up into the mountains. There's a bike road, whatever, for lack of a better word. But It's just, yeah, I'm always just kind of like, oh man, that is so cool. There's just so much space.
To you it was a dream suspended to relocate right from the break to the start. Over time, clouds kept the light from those eyes. Still, love grown consumed, and you know I'll never let it go. You'll find in time, I'll never let it go. You'll find it's right. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind.
Man, this has been so far. Wild.
Over time, clouds kept the light from those eyes. Still, love grown consumed, and you know I'll never let it go. You'll find in time, I'll never let it go. You'll find it's right. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind. I'll only ever know how to speak my mind.
Incredible.
My mind.
Are we still in Liverpool? Okay.
And so we reached St. Peter's Church here in Walton.
Walton.
And on the
Okay.
6th of July, 1957, that was a Saturday, they had the Walton Village Fete here, in a field that's now a graveyard and part of a school. On the bill of that fete was a little skiffle group called the Quarrymen, and they were called the Quarrymen because that was the main industry around here in Walton. It was all sandstone quarries. My specialist subject, isn't it, Bimblers? Sandstone and the Mersey Valley. I'm always going on about it. The sandstone in Walton was thought to be very high quality. It was actually used for the base of Speke Hall. They built the hall on top of some Walton sandstone. In 1903, Walton sandstone was picked to be the fascia of the Anglican Cathedral. All the posh bits, you know, the bits that look nice on the outside. The Anglican Cathedral being designed by Sir Giles Gilbert Scott. I go on about him a lot as well, don't I? He designed Battersea Power Station and red telephone boxes.
Huh.
Obviously, St. Peter's Church here in Walton was made out of Walton sandstone, and it was completed in 1887. It was
Dang.
designed by a couple of chaps called Grayson and Ould. That would be a George Enoch Grayson and an Edward Ould. Edward Ould was taught by John Douglas, my favourite church architect. And John Douglas was taught by Edward Graham Paley. I'm always on about him as well, aren't I, Bimblers? On Saturday the 6th of July 1957, the Quarrymen were as follows. Eric Griffiths on guitar, Colin Hanton on drums, Rod Davis on banjo, Pete Shotton on washboard,
Washboard.
Len Gary on T-chest bass, and John Lennon on lead vocals and guitar. The Fab Six. It was actually in the intermission between the two sets that the Quarrymen did that history was made. A lad called Paul McCartney turned up to show him what he could do on the guitar. He was left-handed, so he played it upside down. And he played 20 Flight Rock by Eddie Cochran, and he knew all the words. But I'm sure he didn't know what the words were about. He was only 12 at the time.
Oh my gosh.
Not bad going. Wish some of my students could play that. Another piece of Paul McCartney-related trivia here at St. Peter's Church is a gravestone dedicated to Eleanor Rigby. As we know, Paul McCartney penned a song called Eleanor
yes.
Rigby. It was on the album Revolver, and it was released as a single, a double A-side with Yellow Submarine. You might think that the gravestone is what inspired the song, but apparently not. According to Paul, it was actually called Miss Daisy Hawkins to start off with. Miss Daisy Hawkins picks up the... You know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually how we write songs. That's how I write songs anyway. You just say a load of rubbish until something sticks. Lest we forget that Yesterday by the Beatles was scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs. And then it became Yesterday. Much better.
Yeah.
Eventually,
I didn't
Miss
know
Daisy
that.
Hawkins became Eleanor Rigby. That was thought to be because of Eleanor Bron from the film Help by the Beatles. And the Rigby bit came from a shop in Bristol. There's another gravestone here to an Eleanor Glover. That would have been a different song, wouldn't it? Eleanor Glover picks up the rice. No, it goes, don't you? It was all just a massive coincidence. But there's something around the corner that isn't a coincidence. It was definitely named as a Beatles song, just pluralised. It was written by John Lennon, and it was the next single after Eleanor Rigby. Let's bimble.
Oh, that's interesting.
Big plans are easiest to make. Aim for the stars, it's yours, just wait. You do your best along the way. But it's those arms that told me I don't care if it's yours or mine.
Somewhat around the corner.
It's just a waste of
Strawberry Fields.
Let me take you down, 'cause we're bimbling to Strawberry Field, sans plural. Strawberry Fields Forever was released in 1967, and it was a double A-side with Penny Lane.
I like that
Which is another
song.
location here in Liverpool. For a different bimble, I think I'll call that Another Beatles Bimble. The song was inspired by this, Strawberry Field. It used to be a children's home operated by the Salvation Army. That was from 1936 right up until 2005. John Lennon used to come and play in the gardens here when he was a nipper. And apparently, when they had open days and fetes, he used to mither his Aunt Mimi to come here so he could watch the brass band. They still have a bandstand here, but I don't think it's the original one. It's in the shape of a snare drum in a sort of Sergeant Pepper style. It's very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that in the year 2000, a couple of fellas stole the iconic gates from outside of Strawberry Field and sold them to a scrap man?
No.
When the police came saying, they're the gates from Strawberry Field, he had to give them back. They didn't reinstall them outside, they installed them inside the garden, and the ones outside are replicas. But the gate posts are the original Strawberry Field gate posts, the ones that John Lennon would have seen when he was climbing over the wall to get in the gardens. It's a very peaceful, tranquil place to come and have a visit. Cost me £10 and 8p to come in here today. But well worth it to see the original gates and the new bandstand. It's also worth it because they have an exhibition inside, and inside is the piano that John Lennon wrote Imagine on.
Oh, wow, cool.
That's in there. In a glass case. It's a bit of a shame really, isn't it? But is there anything else Beatles related around here? Perhaps a real park that we could go and play in? Let's bimble.
inspiration, need a heart to bring you round.
I always enjoy finding the inspiration for songs, you know, hearing, you know, why would they call the song like Eleanor Rigby? But it just seems like it's not really after someone in particular. It's just kind of by chance, but
As sure as night designed the day.
it's always interesting because over time we all have or have heard a certain, oh, this is about, you know, X and Y, but it turns out it's nothing what we would been hearing our whole lives or something. Interesting. Oh, don't want to run them over.
I'm currently sat on a nice picnic bench in Calderstone Park, trying to get away from everyone. It's very busy. It's
Oh,
bank
they got a
holiday
fair
Monday as
going.
I'm filming this.
A little carnival.
Calderstones Park is named after some Calder stones, a Neolithic dolmen. A dolmen is a place where they would have buried someone very important many thousands of years ago. The Calder stones used to be in a conservatory just off the cycle path, but I think they've been moved into Calderstone House. They've been arranged in a sort of parallel line, which apparently is how they should have been in the first place. It was thought that they were arranged like a sort of Stonehenge, but then this clever bloke came along called W.A. Herdman, and he said it was a dolmen. And guess what? They're made out of Walton sandstone, so they've been using the sandstone from Walton for at least 5,000 years.
Jeez.
But there's something else quite old here in Calderstone Park. The Allerton Oak. It's 1,000 years old. When that was just a sapling, William the Conqueror would have been coming over here and doing the Doomsday Book of 1086.
Wow.
It's held up by some metal struts, but not because it's 1,000 years old, but because of something that happened in Birkenhead in 1864. A ship called the Lottie Lee was delivering 11 tons of gunpowder, and someone accidentally knocked over an oil lamp, and kaboom.
Oh no.
The force was felt 3 miles away here in Calderstone Park, and the Allerton Oak was split in two. But what has this got to do with the Beatles? Well, if you look at the back of your latest Beatles release, perhaps that new single, Now and Then. I say new, it's very old, but only just been released. The Fab Four have named their production company Calderstone, after the park. And it doesn't stop there. There's a playground for the kids, and there's a lot of kids out today. And that's the Linda McCartney playground, dedicated to her after she died of cancer. Paul McCartney opened it.
Very nice.
As well as that, this is where John Lennon would have hung around with his naughty mates, wouldn't he? But where did he live? Let's bimble.
Big aspirations need a heart to hold you, heart to hold you. I don't care, you can say what
Yeah, a lot of people.
I'm a peace-loving person, but I know I'm right. It's as easy as right from wrong.
Whoa.
I'm a
Whoa.
lover, not a fighter, so I wrote this song.
I love it.
From the start, such inspirations need a heart to bring you round.
I love seeing everybody out. So cool.
I think I picked the wrong week to come to John Lennon's childhood home at 251 Menlove Avenue. Plenty of tours going on.
Well, this is
Not
International
least the
Beatle
Magical
Week.
Mystery Tour, who are currently watching me do this piece to camera. John Lennon moved in here in July of 1946, and he lived here with his Aunt Mimi. John's mum, Julia, had split up with John's dad, Alfred, and Mimi didn't want John to live with Julia and a new boyfriend. John lived here until he was 22, and 2 years after he left, Mimi left, and I'm guessing she moved into a big posh house bought by John. This is the house where John Lennon would have learnt how to play the guitar.
Nice.
A guitar that Aunt Mimi bought for him. Guaranteed never to crack. A Galatone champion. An awful guitar. With the prices elevated now because of the association with John Lennon. It's the guitar he's playing in that famous picture at the Walton Village Fete. You would imagine this house would be full of nice memories, growing up with Aunt Mimi and his Uncle George. But unfortunately, his mum was run down 30 metres away from the house on Menlove Avenue itself. She was going home just after she'd visited John. That was in 1958 when John was 17. If you think the house looks familiar, you must be an Oasis fan, because in 1994, Oasis used a picture of this house for the front cover of Live Forever. It was a picture took by Brian Cannon of Microdot. He did all of the classic Oasis front covers right up until Be Here Now. But are there any more Beatles that live around here? Well, yes, but we'll have to save them for another Beatles Bimble.
That was good. Yeah, that was good. That was wonderful. I enjoyed that a lot. Again, not a huge Beatles fan, but that was interesting. Learning about how they got the names for some of the songs, where they lived. Of course, it's always interesting to see where they grew up and what kind of childhood that they could have had, you know. Just, yeah. I know little about the Beatles other than what everyone knows about the Beatles. So to see Kieran go on this little adventure, that was really entertaining. I just enjoy his videos. I really do. I learn a lot of just unique and things that you would never, like the whole Calder Stone and you know, Walton Sandstone, and you know, just, yeah, it's just bizarre how all that stuff is there, and just this history of things that unless you're looking for it, you walk right by stuff like that every single day. And of course, his bike riding sped up. When he's on the street, it's pretty harrowing. I encourage you to go support his channel, please. Links below. Get over there, support him, buy his album if you liked the music you heard. He's got a bunch of other songs. They're so good. This man is a talented musician in his own right, and yeah, I love the album. I love listening to it. But yeah, get over there and support him. It's real important that we all support these original content creators. He's given us his blessing to watch his videos, and you know, it's the least we can do, right? Let's get over there and help him out if you enjoyed it. I hope everybody's happy, healthy, and safe. Thanks so much for coming out and hanging with me today. Probably have a video tomorrow, so stay tuned. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. All right, bye.
Mark from the States, Mark from the States, it's Mark. Yeah.